Alright, today it is finally time to try to get Docker onto our project. So right now I have all of my different microservices. I have my registry microservice, my producer, and consumer, which are backend. All three of those are written in Java. And then I have my front end microservice, which is written in JavaScript. So try to get all of these things into Docker containers and get them working. So that's what we are going to be trying to do now. And let's see if we can do it. First thing I want to do is I want to check this. Okay, so I think it's fine. That was just like one little thing that I did. I think it was just like a space or something. So we are free to play with it. So now I'm gonna come here and say I have, let's see, 3 microservices written in Spring Boot Java. Okay. 2 are normal backend microservices, and the other one is what? Is the Eureka server. Okay. The other microservice that I have is written in JavaScript using Node.js and Express. All right, my goal now is to get all of these microservices to be in their own Docker container. How do you suggest I go about doing this? List out the steps and tell me what is going on. Okay, so let's see what it says. Okay, so step-by-step guide to Dockerizing your microservices. Step 1, create Docker files for each microservice. So I want to figure out, what is a Docker file? What does it do? What do I need to put in it? Okay, so here's a Docker file, but what's going on? Okay, for Spring Boot applications. Okay, so well, all of a sudden I realize, okay, so there's something different but in the Docker file between the Spring Boot applications and the Node.js applications. All right, so for Spring Boot services, in each Spring Boot project root, meaning, like, for example, producer resource here in its root directory, we need a Docker file that says this. So from OpenJDK 17 JDK Slim volume temp expose 8080, or whichever service or whichever port I'm using, okay, args jar file, okay, copy this entry is app.jar. Okay, so I don't know what any of these are doing. So number 1 question is going to be, when I have that Docker file, what does the file actually do? Okay, what does it do? And then I also want to know about, don't I need to include all of those packages? The second thing is like, isn't a Docker container just a environment? An environment. I was about to call it a virtual machine, but an environment. So it does not automatically start up my Spring Boot or Node application, right? When and where are the dependencies actually downloaded onto the Docker, onto the container? Okay. So Node.js Docker file. So from Node here, maybe this is the what image? OpenJDK Java Development Kit, maybe. Maybe this is where I get all my libraries. I'm not sure. Volume temp, current working directory, app, copy. Okay, so I'm installing all the dependencies right there. Okay, configure Eureka client URL. So in my Spring Boot service, update the default zone. So this is what my other microservices are going to use to try to find the server or the Eureka server. Okay. Then I need a Docker Compose, which I believe takes all of the different, the like 4 microservice containers and starts them all together. So let's see what's in here. Services, Eureka server. So I build the Eureka server. Or maybe I start the Eureka server. I'm not sure. Build, so backend service 1, okay. Depends on Eureka server. So that means put the Eureka server first. Networks is this micronet. Where's networks? Okay, here. Micronet is bridge. I mean, I think that bridges to my local network, my local device, so my MacBook. Node service, backend service. Okay. Then I can do Docker Compose. Alright, so I'm gonna press enter on that, and then I'm going to come in here, close out of each of these. Okay, and then I'm just going to try to see if I can get 2 things connected. So I'm going to try to get my registry connected and my producer resource connected. So I'm going to come in here and I need this Docker file. What should it be called though? And what is this jar? I don't know what the jar is either. Okay, I need to ask the other thing. What should my Docker files be called in my root for each of the microservice? Does it need a special name? Auto detects it. Okay, recommended. Just call it Docker file. Okay, fine. Okay. So from here, create a new file and call it Docker file. Okay. All right. So it's auto configured here. I'm just gonna copy and paste this. See if we get any errors. Doesn't like this. We are currently looking at the producer microservice, so let me see which port we expose on this. We are on 8080, okay. So that's fine right there. Okay. Now I probably need to do the exact same thing for my registry. So I'm going to come here, do new file, Docker file, okay, and then paste that into here. And then we need to find what port we're running on here. So I am going to go into my source, main, Java, resources here. Application properties, and we're running on this port. Okay. And this is my registry. And put that there. Okay. So now I have my two Docker files. I don't know if they will actually run. So let's come up here and read. Okay, so we did this for two of my microservices. If it works, we'll expand it out to the other ones. Okay. And if it works, we'll have to go and investigate what's going on as well. So configure Eureka client URLs. So now I need to actually go back to my, let me just get rid of all of this. Okay. So not in front end, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm gonna come into my here, and now Eureka client service URL. So now I don't want this anymore. Okay, this is the old way of doing it. And I don't want to say localhost anymore. I want to say Eureka server. So now my question is, how does it know where a Eureka server is? Okay, so like this. Okay. Use the Docker service name, Eureka server, instead of localhost. Okay. But how do I name it? I'm not seeing anything that associates it. And then we have that Docker compose. We'll not look at that for right now. Let's go and look at my questions and see if we're able to get any clarity here. And we also need to ask those other questions that I was running into about how is it naming the Docker, or not naming the Docker file, but naming the container which is being created. Okay. So number one, what does a Docker file actually do? A Docker file is a blueprint for building a Docker image. It's a step-by-step recipe that tells Docker, so we're building an image. Okay. What base environment to start from? So we're starting from either OpenJDK for our JavaScript environments or Node 18 for our JavaScript environments. What files to copy into the image? Your app code, configuration files, etc. Okay, did we do that? Copy jar file app jar. Okay. What commands to run? Do we do that though? I don't know. npm install or Java C. I mean, app.jar. Are we actually where is this? Where is app.jar? Huh? What command to run when the container starts? Like Java. Okay. When you run docker build, Docker reads the Docker file and creates a self-contained image that includes everything the app needs to run. Against my better judgment, I am going to just try it. So I'm going to go into the producer resource and I'm going to do what? Docker build? Okay. See what error. No. Did I misspell it? I don't think I did. So apparently we don't have that installed. I'm actually just going to start a new one here for more of the troubleshooting. Okay. So I can do which Docker is not found. If nothing is found, I need to Is there a way just to do it from the command line? Is there a way to do it? Alright, homebrew, okay. So install homebrew, I already have homebrew. Install Docker, brew, install. Okay, let's just do that. Whoops. Yeah. All right, well, that is doing its thing. I'm going to come back over here, start Docker, then we should be able to start Docker. Okay. Even though you installed it via the command line, Docker desktop needs to be launched at least once. Oh, okay. Let's do that. It's my password. Whoops. Okay. Was prevented from modifying. Operation not permitted. Probably need to do sudo. Homebrew does not drop privileges on install. Would you... Okay. So the operation not permitted means macOS blocked Homebrew from modifying extended which sudo is not allowed. Homebrew explicitly forbids it because it can expose your system's serious risk. Okay. Grant terminal full disk access. Go to systems. If you want a lightweight Docker alternative, alright, fine. Do you want to allow downloads? Sure. Let's get this out of there. Alright. So we are going to do this one here. Okay. And I thought I actually already had Docker, actually. Oh, I don't know. Okay. So now I'm just going to try which Docker again. Okay, now we have Docker. So apparently I didn't have Docker in the past. So now it says I need to come in here and start it. Okay, so okay. Verifying Docker, fine. Docker is an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? Sure. Okay. Wait until Docker finishes initializing. I'll see a whale icon on the menu bar. Once it's running, you can use Docker commands. Okay. So far I do not see a whale up there. Docker item added, Docker. Okay. So I'm just gonna try Docker build again. Oh, I saw something pop up. What's this? Loading error details. Okay. This is the Intel version of Docker Desktop. Please download the latest Apple. Oh my gosh. Docker build like this. I don't feel like I'm making progress. Docker is installed and the CLI is working, but now it's throwing the classic error, cannot connect to Docker daemon. Okay, which means the Docker daemon, the background service that powers Docker, isn't running yet. Okay, so launched, even though you installed, I already did that, but I think it has that. I think that's what gave us that little error. Okay. So we'll let it do its thing. It's gonna fail, and I'm guessing it's gonna fail, and then I'll just copy and paste the output into ChatGPT. While this is going, while it's doing its little thing, I'm gonna come in here and try to figure out what these are. Oh, actually, I need to read more of this. So, number 2, is Docker a container or just an environment? Yes and no. Docker container is an isolated environment like a mini virtual machine, but it's also designed to run a process. That's why there's a command or entry point in my Docker file, okay? When you run docker run, Docker starts the container and immediately executes, okay, that command, the command defined in Dockerfile. For Spring Boot, that's usually java jar app.jar. What is app.jar? Is that a file that I created in my Spring Boot project? I have no idea what that is, and I don't know why I'm running it. I know node index.js. That makes sense. Then I'm going to further say, I have never ran that command before when starting my Spring Boot applications. I always do, what is it, mvn, maven, w, Spring Boot run. Okay, so question number 2. When and where are dependencies downloaded? By the way, did this finish? I never got another error. What if I just do like this again? Never got that second error. I can do this one as well. Get more telemetry data. Was it just gonna hang or what? Okay. The Docker CLI is installed and working, but Docker daemon, I mean, yeah, your Docker input or Docker info output shows the client not working, but the server, the daemon, isn't connected. Okay, so the client is working, server is not, whatever. Yes, I mean, from my thing, you should have saw that I did that. Wait until the whale icon appears. Check for startup errors. If Docker desktop doesn't launch or silently fails, open activity monitor. I understand. Even if you run this, it might not have fully started. Try this, go finder. Okay, wait until the whale icon appears. Okay, I don't necessarily, the reason I'm a little bit hesitant to do these is I don't necessarily want to be poking around on my computer's settings while on video, so I don't know if there's any passwords or something like that there. Reboot your Mac, okay. Whatever. When and where are dependencies downloaded? Dependencies are downloaded during the build image process, not when the container runs. So for Spring Boot, you compile your app and package it as a jar, okay? Oh, maybe that's what's going on, is when I'm compiling my Java program, it compiles to a jar, but that's all done by the Spring Boot software, so I don't have to deal with it because it's kind of abstracted away from me. So that's why I didn't know what a jar was. But I'm still going to ask this question. Okay, so this one, Docker. We already did that. Okay. Oh, I remember what I wanted to do. Number 2 is going to be this one. Can you explain exactly what these 3 lines are for and what they signify? Okay. Okay. What is app.jar? Is not something you create directly. It is a name used in Dockerfile to refer to the compiled Spring Boot application. I'm not going to pretend like I understood that the first round. I need to go again. App.jar is not something you create directly. Yeah, so I didn't create it. It is used in the Docker file to refer to the compiled Spring Boot application. I think that's what I was saying, is that Spring Boot kind of does that for me, and it creates that file. I just had never interacted with it because I never needed to. Okay, so when I do this command, I'm launching the app directly from the source code using Maven. But when Docker builds an image, it needs self-contained executable. Okay, so to generate it, I can run this Maven clean package. Okay, this creates a jar file in the target directory. Did I put anything in target? So target directory, okay, and then I'm seeing target right there, and then everything.jar. Do we see? I'm not seeing any jar. .class. Where is jar? What? .class. Well, anyways, maybe there's something jar in here. It's probably like a one file, but it's somewhere hidden. Okay. To generate it, do that, and then target. This creates a jar file in the target directory. Like, okay, let's look for this. Target, my Spring app. Okay, so target, where was target? Come on. Maybe it's because I actually haven't run that. Let me run this command here. Okay. Let's see. Whew. Whew. Oh my goodness. Oh. Hey, look at that. Look at that. We got some jar files. That's pretty cool, huh? That's pretty cool. Okay. Nice. In the Docker file, we rename and copy that file for simplicity, okay? Explaining the 3 Dockerfile lines. Let's walk through each line. So arg jar file equals target wildcard jar. The purpose declares a build time variable. Okay. Meaning a build time variable, okay, tells Docker to look for any jar files in the target directory. Why? This lets you avoid hard coding the exact file name. Okay, that's fine. So copy jar file, app.jar, copies the compiled jar from the host machine to the Docker image. Okay, meaning it takes the jar file from target and places it in the image. Okay, great. This is the actual application code that will run inside the container. Okay, entry point. Purpose defines the command to run when the container starts. So, okay, fine. Now that makes sense. I'm running this command on my app.jar, which like is one of these guys here. So copy it as app.jar, right? Copies the compiled jar files from my host machine. So it places it inside the image as app.jar. So I'm putting that name in there. Okay. All right, an analogy. Building a Docker image is like packing a suitcase. You pack your clothes, meaning compile my app. Copy, I put those clothes into the suitcase, okay? Entry point, you tell the suitcase what to do when it's open. Okay. Okay, so this is Apple. Yeah, it's like the M whatever. I don't know if I have M1 or M2. Chip. Alright. So can I open it? Okay. Let's try it again. Replace. Okay. So now I'm going to come in here and try that same thing with the open. Actually, I'm going to do, let's see, which Docker. Okay. Then I'm going to try this open. Okay. Like this. Okay. Verifying Docker. Now, if it gives me an error, yes, I want to open it. If it gives me an error, I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm not going to close it this time. Find devices on my local, allow, yes. Hey, we're getting a little bit further than we did last time. Do I actually need to create an account? Okay. Let's see. So, I might create the account off. If I do need to create it, I'll create that off video. But let me do what? Run it. Let me do docker build dot. Failed to read Docker file, open Docker file, no such directory. Okay. So here's the Docker file right there. I'm gonna be closing this because I don't need that, and I don't need this, and I don't need this. Okay. So here's a Docker file right there. Save that. Do I need to do I need to add it to like my Git repository? I don't know why that would solve the problem, but we can try that. Seems like it is working insofar as Docker is working, but it seems like it has a problem on my end. Let me ls. Yeah, I mean I have that Docker file right there. Okay. Then open it in a text editor. I mean, it's there. So, what are we doing? Rename it. Rename the file so Docker can find it. Is it? Oh, it doesn't like the capital F right there. So, I'm going to just replace that. Okay. Then I'm gonna run this build again. Allow. Okay. Okay. Ha ha ha. Okay. Okay, what did I just do actually? Can I ping it from, let's see. Oh, I should have done it on consumer because I have Swagger up there. Darn. Let me try to ping it. Let's see, it was on localhost 8080, right? So, localhost, just do this one. It's gonna crash, but 8080, okay. It's not quite a cause for concern yet. Let me get a correct path. Hello controller. This is okay, so I'll just do API and I should get hello back. Okay. Well, maybe it's because Docker has its own IP address. Okay. Let me ask that. I am now trying to hit one of the endpoints in my Spring Boot application, but it doesn't seem to be hitting it. what are some of the problems that might be there? And what IP address should I be putting in my browser? I don't think it's localhost, because if this is doing its own, if I have my container and it has its own IP address, I wouldn't be using localhost. So Docker run here. Okay, so you need to start the container and expose a port. Well, what is this? What did I just do though? Okay, I don't understand step 1 because I just did docker build dot. What does this do? And what is my image name? Didn't I just create and run the image? With this command. Okay. I was doing that, and then so it says that I need to do that. Access the app. Once the container is running, I can use localhost. Okay. So what Docker build actually does, Docker reads the Docker file in your current directory, creates an image based on the instructions. But here's the key point. Unless you tag the image during the Docker build, Docker gives it a randomly named ID. So yes, you created the image, but it hasn't run yet, okay? So now I need to come in here and do Docker images, okay? And obviously it's gonna be the one 4 minutes ago, okay? I knew that I used Docker on, yeah, there it is. 2 years ago, 16 months ago, 15 months ago, okay. Okay. I'll see something like this. So I need that right there. How to run it. Docker run, okay. So I'm gonna come here, get this image, and then I'm gonna do, let me, come in here, Docker run port, and I want to map 8080 to 8080, okay, and of this image, okay. Okay. So I don't think we got an error. Let's try to reload this. Which means it didn't, like, I think we're actually hitting it. Is this like a weird, oh, I need to do hello, API. Yes. I'm out of water. Okay. Oh yeah. Nice. That's so cool. Okay, oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. So, what do I want to do here? I want to save my changes. That's what I want to do. Get status git add git commit -m, and I am going to say successfully created a Docker file for the producer microservice. Will be creating more. We'll be creating Docker files for all microservices next. Okay. Git push origin main. Awesome. Okay, cool. So what are we gonna do? Now I am going to take a little bit of a break and reflect, or then the next video I am going to come back. I'm going to reflect a little bit on what we just did, and then we're going to expand it out to the other services, all of the other microservices, and we're going to try to get them running, try to get them connected, try to understand what's going on, then try to get the Docker compose. And so we're just building it out, step by step, trying to understand it along the way. I still definitely have a lot of questions, like, okay, well, I just ran this Docker file or Docker image, so I created the Docker image. So I'm trying to conceptualize, how does that help the user, right? So the user is going to do that, or maybe the Docker compose file is the only thing that the user needs to interact with, and therefore the compose file is going to start up all of those images. But I'm still trying to conceptualize what's going on with Docker. How is it useful? Why are we using it? How does it, we're still going to be playing around with this idea. I'm just trying right now, okay, I got something to work, and I'm trying to conceptualize, okay, well, what's it actually doing? How is it, where is it living? What's going on? How is it able to communicate? I mean, there's a lot of questions going on, but we're gonna keep keep at it. This is we're making some good progress. I'm pretty happy. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, subscribe. I would love to have you around, and join me on this journey for software engineering. And yeah, so my name is Timothy Lee Grant, and oh, well, look at that. There's a whale. There's the whale. Okay, cool. Anyways, I will see you guys very soon. Bye.